Hey guys, Tepcocyclerepair. Sometimes I got to work on vehicles. I'd much rather be in here hanging out with my bikes, but instead I'm working on a truck. But the truck hauls the bikes, so let's get it done. This is a 2009 Chevy Colorado. It's about 92 degrees outside. My shop's not up yet, so I got to work on this thing outside in the sun. But doing a thermostat on it. If your thermostat stops working in these particular trucks, it will cut off your AC and your temperature gauge will drop to zero. So that's what we're working on right now. I have a monitor on it, so when I'm driving in I can monitor the temperature, so I know the temperature gauge sensor was working, and so this is the issue. I got it taken out right now. Let me show you what we got. All right guys, so these are all the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a channel lock. This makes it easy to get the hose clamp off on the radiator, and then when you pull the thermostat out, you're going to take it off, take the hose off of the thermostat. With this one makes it real easy. Channel locks. This is to pull all the buttons off underneath behind the wheel for the wheel skirt, to pull that all off of there. And then extension socket with a swivel on the end of it. This is for the top 10 millimeter on the top of the thermostat. It makes it easy if you have a swivel socket like this. All right, and then I just have an extension, and I'm using a power ratchet, but you can do it by hand. All right, let's get to it. That's all you need. Oh, almost forgot. Getting it back in, you're going to want this magnet to get the top 10 millimeter back in. All right, guys, so the first thing you're going to do is get this thing up in the air. We're going to pull the wheel off. I'm going to be doing it through the wheel well. I also have the coolant draining. Now the thermostat is back down here. If you follow the hose, it's right there, that large hose right here, down in here. All right, it goes around and it bends and it goes right in the bottom there, and that's where it is. And you can see it through the wheel well up through there. Okay, you can see where the large hose is right inside of here, and that's going right into it. So we're going to go ahead and pull it out. I got the coolant draining. The first thing I'm going to do is get this wheel off. I'm going to pull this housing off. You got to use the right tools for these. Don't start grabbing these buttons and just jamming on them. They actually get pulled out with a special tool. Now there's a couple ways to do this. You can just take the two 10 millimeters out and pull the thermostat with the hose on it, or you can pull that clamp off right there, pull that backwards, pull this hose off, and then take the thermostat out. We'll see. This is how I'm going to use it with a 10 millimeter. I have an extension on here and a 10 millimeter, and I'll be using a ratchet coming in straight from here, a power ratchet with a swivel. And actually, I might just push this hose out of the way. I can probably get it right inside of there. And we'll take that top one off, and then the bottom one is pretty much straight in. I have a longer extension that I'll put into the bottom one, which goes straight through here. There's no problem at all. Let me see how tight this bracket is with the extension stalks, and we'll see if that comes off easy. For that top one, I have this extension. It's got like a wobble on the end of it, so you don't need a like a universal tool or universal joint, and it lets the socket kind of move a little bit. This is all you need to get that top one. You can see it right inside of there, and this is enough to get it loose. And it drops right inside of here, and I'm on it right there. You can see it. All right, see, I'm on it right there, and that's going to crack it loose. All right, easy enough. I got the top one out, loosened all the way, just reached in there. You got to squeeze your hand in there, or you can just use a magnet to pull it out, but it's really not hard. I got my hand up and then grabbed it with two fingers. And now the bottom one here, I got that one all the way loose, so I'm going to pull that one out. So now we're going to just grab the thermostat, dump some more water in my driveway. Try to catch as much water as you can there, and then we'll pull it out. And you can see before I pull it all the way out, my stalk's got the clamp down here, but these kind of stick, and the best thing to do is to grab this and just twist it first before you pull it off. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And if you want, go ahead and mark this hose with this line, so when you put the new one on, you can put everything on out here and then just slide it on and work your hose back down. So that's what I'm going to do. Then with the clamp out of the way, this is pretty loose in here. It's not even really tight, and there's the white line on it to line it back up again. So we're just going to go ahead and pull this out all the way, make sure it looks clean inside the hose, put the new one in. All right, so here's the old one, and here's the new one. This is the part number that I'm using from Napa. And then here's the same line they have on it for indexing it. And then I have the white line on here, so I'm just going to slide it back in and move that clamp back onto it. Also, guys, make sure you go in and retrieve the O-ring. As you can see in this one, it's stuck onto the surface on the engine block, so we got to make sure we get that off and clean all that up really good on the engine block so it seals well. All right, so the new one is on. You can see the line there. It even says engine top on it. And I just dropped the clamp exactly in the same place it was before. This is the factory hose. You can see the O-ring sitting in there, so we're going to go in and pull that out. All right, and then just take a scuff pad and clean all around that surface. All right, so we're looking good. I'm going to go ahead and snake the hose back in down through here, and then I'm going to drop the thermostat in there, put the bottom one in. That'll help align the top one, and then do the top one by hand. I can barely get my hand in there with 2 fingers, and then as soon as I get it in the hole, I'll stick my extension on there and spin it on by hand all the way, and then tighten it down with the swivel in the extension. And as far as the O-ring in here, there's tabs in here that hold the O-ring into place. Just make sure it's pushed down all the way into there, and it should hold it all the way in. It's been sitting in the box like this for who knows how long, so it's not going to fall out when you're putting it in. It should be good to go. Just make sure it's pushed in like that, and you're golden. All right, so for the top one, I used this magnet, and I just put the bolt on the end of it, slid it all the way in, and then put my hand in there and held it, moved the magnet out of the way, and then used the extension to get it up in that hole. It was a little tricky, but if you have a magnet like this, it's no problem. It's one of the tools you need. All right, so I'm going to tighten the top one out, tighten the back one, and then get the radiator hook back up on the bottom side. All right, lower hoses back on. Let's put the skirt back on and the wheel, and then we'll lower it down, and I'll show you how to purge the system there. All right, so I'm going to fill this one up as much as it'll take, and that'll get both sides of the thermostat. Then we're going to fire it up, let it run a while, let the thermostat open up. We're going to leave this off the whole time, and we're just going to let the air come out and slowly fill it up if it needs more. And then when this one is all full and the thermostat is opened, everything is good, then I'll cap this one off here, and I'll fill up the overflow, and I'll have that cap off as well. And don't let it trick you. Don't stop when it's here, okay? Keep filling it up, because what's happening here is that you'll keep filling it, and it's going to go down this hose and keep filling up this side as well. So keep on filling it up until it starts to actually come up the neck. All right, like this. This is how you want it. All right, let me go get the key and fire it up. All right, now that it's running, we're just going to keep an eye on it. The thermostat should open. This will start moving through, and we're just going to keep it topped off. If you watch it, you'll see bubbles coming out of here. Every so often a bubble will come up. There's one. So it's just purging itself. There's another one. All right, now you can see I'm up to about 88 degrees, and the temperature gauge is now going up, and you see the AC off is not being illuminated any longer, so the AC will come back on again. So we're still watching the coolant under the hood. It's still purging bubbles out. I'm waiting for it to open up, so I'm keeping an eye on the temperature and watching temperature go up, and then drop back down again. And I'll let you know what the temperature goes up to. All right, so it went up to 197 and then started to drop back down again. I held the RPM up at about 1,500, about 1,000 RPM, and I held it there for a little bit and let it off. And by doing that, you see more bubbles come out of here. I'll do that again. All right, so let's watch it there. Bubbles coming out. About 1,100 RPM right here. There's 1,500 RPM. Just holding it a little bit and then let it off, and it keeps working the water through, purging all the air out. Alright, I'm not seeing any more air bubbles coming up here. I think we're good. I'm going to cap it and then fill up the overflow. Remember, after you cap it, it's building up pressure. Don't open it up again. Leave it shut. And see the warning on that. Guys, as I'm looking at it here and it's filling back up, I really think you can probably just pull this skirt up out of the way and just hold it up out of the way and do the whole job and not even have to take the inner skirt off. But give it a shot. All right, guys, well, it's good to go. Everything's back together, running fine. AC's working again, all from that thermostat. It was a pretty easy job. Really wasn't a big deal to do. It took me about 30 minutes. So you guys can do this one. Hopefully this helps you out. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for further notifications. Until next time, hopefully my shop will be up. This is Tepcocyclerepair.